Are we on?
Yeah, we're on. We're
Okay,
rolling.
cool.
There's the volume on the headphones, right?
Yeah.
And the volume on the microphone. And you're never going to be able to like listen to them through the headphones and know exactly how good it sounds, like how the levels are. So that's why you have to look at the levels. So, but he had them, I don't know why he had them turned up so loud. It's like crazy. Anyway. And then also there's a thing on here, a switch where you can switch it so that it automatically caps the volume.
Yeah.
And like my mic input and none of the other ones had that cap. So I was like, why can't I hear myself at all? And when I was editing the last episode, which was after this equipment had been used for a film shoot by someone else, I was like, why is my audio so low? Like I always have to turn everything down. Like my audio, when I'm editing this podcast, I always have to turn everything way down. And so now I know why. It's because I didn't fucking check my settings until just now. And I realized that the headphones were way up and the mic input on this mic was way down.
So did it mess up your...
No, did you not listen to the episode? Sarah?
Wait, I did.
You did?
I listened to this one. Yeah. This last one was, fuck. What was it about again?
What was our episode about?
I have a terrible memory. Like what?
It was about the Emmys.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
It sounded fine to me.
That's because I did some engineering to make everything. I was like, why am I so much quieter than Sarah? Because like that never happens.
No.
You
actually sounded way loud. No, I'm just kidding. You overcorrected.
Listeners, you be the judge. You tell me what you think. Did I overcorrect? Do you care? Did you notice? Probably not. But if
Probably
you did,
not. Probably don't care.
Sarah, how's your tea?
I haven't tried it yet, but I'm smelling it, and it smells so good.
So listeners, as you may know, I am a tea fanatic. I am a tea head, right?
Yes.
But Sarah
I'm a tea hater.
Sarah has up to this point resisted the tea. And today I brought in a tea. It's not Georgia made. It's actually from St. Augustine because I went on vacation with my family.
Well,
so it's Southeastern made tea.
Okay.
Or I don't know. I don't know where these fucking leaves come from. It's just packaged and sold in St.
That'd be
Augustine.
a great thing to put on the bag. I don't know where these fucking leaves come from.
Where these fucking leaves come from. Trademarked. It's a tea that I got at a shop in St. Augustine. The St. Augustine Spice and Tea Trading Company or something.
You should know you have enough from there, right?
I bought a lot. Did I show you how many?
Yeah, you have an entire cabinet full of them.
That is not an understatement. I bought so much little packets of tea. And one of them was a green tea called creme brulee.
Yes. It was green?
It's a green tea.
No green. I'm just kidding.
And you can smell it now wafting towards us. It smells like there's a freshly baked dessert on the table.
Yes, it does.
And I let Sarah take a sniff and she was like, can I try some? And it was like the sky opened up and I could see the stars and I was trying not to get too excited that Sarah's trying some tea.
Aww.
But I'm not going to have too high expectations. But the fact that you have a teacup sitting in front of you right now I feel like now we're sharing something new that we've never been able to share. Welcome to the Georgia Made podcast.
Welcome.
I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
I'm your other host, Sarah.
And this is a podcast about film and filmmaking in Georgia.
And other places.
But
mostly Georgia.
When have we ever done an episode about film in another place? Sometimes we talk
about
in the
stuff.
in the like discussion.
Yeah.
In the appetizer discussion.
I personally
section.
think we should only talk about things like pertaining to the state.
So
like no other,
nothing.
like not tea.
Tea, like tea's made here,
but not this tea, as you attested.
So I should dump this tea out.
Let's do it.
I can't. It's too good. It smells too good.
It's like a Cinnabon in here.
It does. It smells like we're in a Cinnabon right now. Like not like the store, not like the bun. Because it's not that. It's not sticky.
Yeah, no.
It just smells good.
That would be fun, I guess, to be in a bun.
I don't know.
If you're wearing a suit that protects you from this stickiness, but it's warm and like smells good, I guess.
It would be like a womb, you're saying.
A womb, yeah.
It would be like a sugary
Cinnabon womb.
Toasty womb.
Oh God.
So Sarah, as you mentioned,
our
last episode on record was about the Emmys.
Yes.
There was one particular show that really dominated the Emmys.
Yes.
And that show was Fleabag, and you have started watching it.
Yes, I've seen the first 3 episodes.
Okay, so tell us what do you think?
I think it's great. I think it's very well written. I think it's funny and kind of sad and kind of dark and moody. And the very first episode, you're not really introduced to the full concept of the show.
Okay. So it's like an anti-hero kind of situation.
It's an anti-hero, yes, but something that happened in episode 2 and 3 is that you see that she had, okay, this is spoilers.
Okay.
But she had a best friend who was like her business partner.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know if she lived with her or whatever, or I don't know, but they were like really close and she died.
Oh man.
Yeah. And so like,
oh God, this sounds really like, wow.
Yeah. But it like,
intense.
it informs you about her character and why she might be so messed up.
Or maybe like has difficulty opening up to
people.
Yes. What does Fleabag mean? Or is that something that I should watch the show and find out?
I think you should watch the show, but I also don't know because I've only seen the first three episodes. I don't know how many episodes there are. Probably like 10.
Well, there's 2 seasons and that's it.
Yeah.
So, it started out as a one-woman stage show.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It popped up in my Facebook feed, the Kickstarter campaign for Fleabag's. It's interesting that you say that. She was the co-artistic director with somebody else. I don't know if she still is, but she was co-artistic director with somebody at a theater. And this theater had produced a lot of her work and a lot of other people's work. It was like a sort of grassroots kind of theater company. Mm-hmm. And one of the shows they produced was Fleabag, which was written by her. Yeah. And I saw the Kickstarter video it's still up on Kickstarter from like 2013 or whatever when they were trying to raise the money to make this show, a stage show. Anyway, it was really interesting to watch how they marketed it, like how the video had your standard talking heads where they were kind of discussing the importance of theater and why they wanted to make this show. But then it also had these weird intercut character shots of like Phoebe Waller-Bridge kind of, I'm assuming like in character, but she was like dressed as Batman or something. What? And she was just kind of slinking around. Yeah. Like on a street corner. It was very weird and funny. And I was like, it was just like the right touch where if you were like being inundated with a bunch of like crowdfunding campaigns, that you might stop and look at that and go, that's different. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, on Fleabag, she breaks the fourth wall often and looks into the camera and kind of like smirks or like makes a...
Kind of like Friday the 13th.
Maybe. I didn't see any smirks in that, but you'll have to tell me about it. But like she also makes a lot of faces that you don't see on TV. Just like, because most of the time on TV or in film, everything is very like performy. Like this is like a presentation, and she makes like, I mean, listeners, you can't see my face, but like,
or like very performative,
like
face.
not performative, but just like very like awkward, but not awkward in a I'm performing way, but awkward in like a genuinely like
this is how I am.
Yes. Okay. And it's very genuine and cute, and I don't know. I like it a lot.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
So you're going to keep watching. Maybe you'll report back to us.
Yes.
Maybe I'll watch it. I mean, I'm planning to.
Yeah.
I'm also like, I still haven't finished Glow. Still haven't finished Mindhunter. So I've got a couple things that got to catch up on. But yeah, that's definitely on my list.
Definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Before we get to today's topic, one other thing I wanted to discuss, and I don't know how much we can really discuss about it because neither of us have seen it. I just feel compelled to talk about Joker.
Okay.
The film that just came out with
has it came out?
Have you not been like inundated?
I have not been inundated, but I did see the trailer when I saw the Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes. When I saw that, there was a trailer for Joker, and it looked good.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people, I keep hearing from everybody that this is like Oscar worthy, like this is the best film they've seen all year, and like so. I haven't seen it. There's also been a lot of people who are like saying like this is a movie that supports that idea that like isolated, put upon white men are justified in enacting violence on others. There's a lot of people who have that read on it as well.
Okay.
And I'm not even saying all of those people have seen the movie, but that was a thing that people were kind of critiquing about the movie, which was like, yeah, so this is an origin story about this criminal, but it's also about like a white man who is feeling like rejected and abused by society and decides to turn on that society with violence, which is a tough thing to talk about. I think the way we see that right now is complicated.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have compared it, and the filmmaker, Todd Phillips, and actually, God, there's just like, we can't get into this so deep, but there's so much we could talk about. Like Todd Phillips, forgive me, I didn't look this up. I believe the filmmaker's name is Todd Phillips, but he directed the Hangover films.
Okay. Yeah.
And he said he doesn't want to direct comedies anymore because woke culture has ruined comedy.
Okay.
So there's that, right?
Yeah.
He also said he was very influenced by Martin Scorsese's film Taxi Driver, which I think you can see in the trailer. That's very obvious. And King of Comedy.
Okay.
And so this is not a superhero film, obviously.
No.
This is a realistic. I've heard it's very dark and uncomfortable and brutal.
Okay.
And anyway, I don't know what I'm here to say about it other than I've seen Taxi Driver. You've seen Taxi Driver, right?
I have not seen Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver is a really great film. It's a well-made film. The performance is excellent. I find it difficult in this time period to look at it and think to myself that I can sympathize with that person. And I don't know that Taxi Driver asks you to sympathize with Travis Bickle. I'm not sure if it does. But there are moments. It was part of this very important time in Hollywood, in American cinema, the late 60s and early 70s, where people were asking themselves, like, what is a hero, and like, what is a person, and the person is not all good or all bad, you know, like those people are complicated, and bad people have good things about them and good people have bad things about them. And I think that was an important step in our evolution of storytelling. Yeah. But I feel like you can look back on it now and go, that guy is around now and we're terrified of him every day, just going to the store. Or going about our daily lives. Like that guy could be anywhere. Yeah. And so I will see the Joker. I'm going to see it. And so maybe I can report back after I've seen it. But what I'd like to see is some awareness of how that's changed and not just a homage to a movie like Taxi Driver. I'd like to see an awareness that that person is not like that. We can try to understand that person, but recognize that their sickness, the rest of us don't deserve to be punished for their sickness. Yeah. Anyway, that's something I'd like to see, and I don't know that I haven't read the reviews too deeply or the critiques too deeply because I want to go in and see it fresh. But just based on my perception of the trailer, which is very stylish, and I'm sure the performance is excellent, as Joaquin Phoenix is an incredible actor. I want to see some awareness of that in that film. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I knew none of that, what you just said. So I was curious about seeing it before that, and now I'm even more curious.
So I just wanted to put that out there because I know that film is out and it's in people's minds. And, there were theaters that were worried about like something like the Aurora shooting happening at one of these theaters. And they're like, we're worried that because people are calling this a movie about incels or for incels or whatever, and that it'll incite people to violence. And we all know like films themselves don't do that.
No, they don't.
And video games, that's not what causes this. And to me, it's like, why would they? Why would they? If this is and again, I haven't seen this movie. This is based on the trailer and what little I've heard people say about it. If this film is about a disenfranchised white man turning to violence as an expression of his feeling about his life and how he's been treated, or even his mental illness, which that is a whole other complicated factor in there, right? Yeah. Is how mental illness is portrayed in the film.
Okay. That might be something I have a problem with. We'll
see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But like those people, well, first of all, this violence is happening anywhere now, but when it is targeted, it happened in Trainwreck, a movie that was not about that. It was about a woman. It was like a romantic comedy, basically.
Yeah.
So like, it's not that this movie would incite violence. Yeah. But it is about something that is all on our minds, and I want to see some kind of nuance there. That's what I'd like to see from that film.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. No.
So you'll probably see it before I will.
I do want to see it. Yeah.
I mean, the guy at the Aurora place, like he dyed his hair like he was the Joker. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that detail.
He like was smiling in his photo. I mean, it's like you can't ignore that. That's part of our our society and our culture and the things that we fear now. Like we can't, like Travis Bickle was a person who existed in a world where like that happened on rare occasions. And in Taxi Driver, it was him, the big scene at the end. That was like a scene, not that those people deserve to die, but it was a scene that was perpetrated onto like gang members. It was like, it wasn't somebody walking into a Walmart and shooting a bunch of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the violence at the end of Joker is like. We obviously know that the character of the Joker kind of holds the city of Gotham under siege. Like he is this like representation of the chaos of criminality and violence, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even think you can look at Heath Ledger's Joker now and not think about that.
Yeah.
But in that movie, if I recall, it was the Joker perpetrating violence mainly on, which is complicated in itself, you know, on government officials and police officers and, you know, the system, if you will. Is that how it's portrayed in Joker? I don't know. I haven't seen the movie. But anyway, I didn't want to take up too much of our time on the show talking about this, but it's like, it's really a big it's a big thing that it's a conversation that's happening in our consciousness right now. And I'm hearing people say that this is the best movie they've seen all year and this movie should win a bunch of awards. And I'm like, okay, but like, what is it adding to the conversation?
Yeah.
And you can love Joaquin Phoenix's performance, and like I might love his performance, but I want to see more from the filmmakers than just here's a fucked up white man fucking killing people like because his mother did this and his, you know, social worker did this and this, you know, talk show host said this about him, and the world keeps kicking him down. I've seen that story. Like, what else can we say about it? Anyway,
Yeah.
that's all I had to say. I know I said that like 4 times already, but for real. Speaking of a man who uses violence as as a plot device, shall we talk about today's topic?
You mean
did I make
Friday
it no fun?
The 13th, part 6. Jason lives.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, our topic for this month, the spooky month of October, is Friday the 13th, part 6. Jason Lives. Shot in Covington, Georgia.
Covington.
For the most part.
Never been there.
I delivered pizzas in Covington, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
In my 20s. Because I went to school. There's a school out there. Emory has a 2-year college where they send you first. If you don't go to the big school in Decatur, they send you to Oxford in the middle of fucking nowhere, which is the closest city nearby is Covington. And I had a great time going to school there. It was a tiny little school. One day we could talk about this, but there were a lot of things that were filmed there. The Dukes of Hazzard, which we surely could do on the show at some point. The parts of Dukes of Hazzard were filmed there, and the building where I had my math class, Seeney Hall, there's a big clock tower. The opening credits where the General Lee, yes, that's the name of the car in the Dukes of Hazzard, is jumping over, or not over, but in front of the clock tower in the opening credits of that film.
Over the clock tower. That'd be impressive.
It's like in front of the clock tower. So Covington has had a lot of stuff filmed there in the past. This was filmed at like a camp at a lake in Covington.
Yeah.
And a lot of road stuff. Lots of driving in this movie.
Yeah. Lots of outdoor stuff. Outdoor in the woods.
Oh yes, if you like woods.
Woodsy.
I consider this to be one of the not as gruesome Jason movies.
Oh.
And also might be interested to know, only Jason film with no boobs. No tatas on display. Yeah, there were no boobs.
Only?
Yeah, every other movie has like boobs in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
There was a scene where they were like, were they having sex? It just felt like she was like kind of like on top of him, kind of like bouncing around.
It was
like
I wrote it in my notes as sex dancing.
Yeah, it just didn't look like there was penetration, you know?
Yeah, it looked like more like maybe he was giving her a lap dance, but he was laying down.
Yeah.
But I think that was meant to be a sexual encounter.
Yeah.
You're referring to court in the RV.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It looked like an aerobics.
Yeah, it was like it was a little, there was something a little Olivia Newton-John about it.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're not really a huge fan of the franchise in the sense that you watch these movies. You probably haven't seen many of them.
I watched maybe the first 3 or 4 with my old roommate. But
so what was your impression of the Friday the 13th mythology coming into this film?
Coming into the film, all I knew was that the real killer was Jason's mom.
In the first movie.
The first one, which was probably one of the only ones that I saw.
Also, there's no hockey mask in the first movie.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, there's no hockey mask. Jason doesn't get the hockey mask until part 3.
Yeah.
Halfway through part 3, in fact.
I just remember the first one was very
he's got a potato sack on his head in
primitive.
the second movie. Jason was very primitive.
The film itself.
This film.
No. The first one.
The first film. It was like very low budget, you mean?
Yeah,
it was primitive in that it was chiseled onto rocks.
It was low budget. It was like low value. Like it was just very like bare minimum.
Do you remember Kevin Bacon being in that film?
No, I don't. Who was he?
He was speared through the neck in a bunk bed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I just remember there being cabins and women.
Yep.
Like that's literally all I remember.
Okay, well that's pretty much that describes a lot of the Friday the 13th movies. Yes. Okay. And so you don't remember, it seems like you don't remember much about the other two then.
No.
Okay.
Nothing.
So you came in going, there's
Very
a guy.
cold. There's a guy.
Hockey mask, maybe? Did you know about the hockey mask?
I knew from like tons and tons of memes.
So like popular culture.
Pop culture, yeah.
So do you know do you want to know the story then? I mean, it's very, there's a lot of holes in it.
Okay, holes.
There's a lot of holes in it because this franchise doesn't really
it wasn't written by one person.
Logical. Yeah. So the first film, the story is that Jason Voorhees drowned when he was like 8. I want to say he was 8. He drowned in the lake because according to his mother, the counselors were off making out or canoodling or having sex or whatever. I don't remember. They were off doing something and they weren't paying attention and he drowned. So then 2 counselors that year were murdered and we see them at the beginning of Friday the 13th where they're off to go make out.
Okay.
In some kind of shed. I feel like there was like boxes or hay bales or something. And they are murdered at the beginning of that movie. So that was in the 50s.
Okay.
Then the first Friday the 13th movie takes place in I want to say it was 1980. And
70 something. It has to be.
The first movie, I think it was 1980.
Okay.
I'm pretty certain it was 1980. And which means it was probably shot in 79. But then people there's the camp Crystal Lake reopens or whatever, or they come back, like they'd closed it because of the murders, and then they reopen it, which is kind of the plot of almost every Jason movie, is that the camp is being reopened as it is in this film.
Yeah.
Only they've changed the name to Camp Forest Green.
Yeah.
In this film. And counselors start disappearing, and then you discover at the end that it's Jason's mother who's been killing all the counselors. Yeah. And she has a showdown with Alice, who decapitates her. And so, but then in the second movie, Jason comes back to avenge her death, but he's an adult somehow. And that's the part that's kind of confusing.
So basically the first movie is the only one that makes sense.
If you think about it too hard, yes.
I mean,
this is all very
it would make sense that a mom would avenge her son's death.
Yes.
Like that makes more sense than most things.
At the end of the movie, when Alice is, spoilers for 1980s Friday the 13th, as Alice is floating away after she's killed Jason's mother, Mrs. Voorhees, and she's floating away in a canoe. She falls asleep in the canoe and sleeps on the lake. And in the morning when the police come to get her, everything seems like it's fine and dandy. And then a mutilated Jason, 8-year-old Jason, jumps out of the lake and pulls her into the lake.
No.
And that's the end.
That's the end
of the first movie.
Oh.
So it's kind of
so
like
it's a super natural thing then.
I think we can assume that.
Yeah.
So to catch you up on where we're at,
is he an adult when he jumps out? He's a child.
So he grows a lot between the first and second movie, is what I'm saying.
Cool.
He
he comes back from the dead, and then
he starts eating creatine.
Okay.
He starts pumping some iron, and when he comes back, he's an adult. He actually kills Alice in the second movie in the first 10 minutes or so. Like the whole beginning is her getting killed at the beginning, and yeah.
Well, it was fun to watch 6. So I mean,
I'll watch more. Here, I'm going to say this right off the bat, which is funny because we're 20 minutes or so into this podcast. I fucking love these weird ass old 80s slasher films. And I know I am not some kind of special person for saying that. I know these are films that are beloved. I grew up in the 80s. I fucking love Jason. I've watched all the movies. I've watched them multiple times. I've got the box set with the fucking hockey mask on it. I have watched the Camp Crystal Lake Memories. I've watched the documentaries.
What about Nightmare on Elm
Street? I got that shit one too. I got that box set. I've got Halloween. I love all the three. Those three are that's my trilogy of awesome. I watch these every Halloween. I got to get through them all.
Yeah.
I got to watch them all back to back. So I have watched these films many times. But I mean, I recognize that as a filmmaker, I recognize how poorly a lot of these movies are made.
Yep.
And I recognize as a American woman living in America how there's a lot of weird misogyny in these movies.
Yeah.
But I would also venture to say that in many of these movies, one of the things I think that drew them to me as a kid was that there weren't a lot of movies where women would kick ass and be the hero. Mm-hmm. They were often like the side piece to some man's story. And in Friday the 13th, there's typically a woman who saves the day, just as in this film. What's her name? Megan. It's not Tommy that saves the day, really.
Right.
It's Megan, right?
Megan.
Megan. Am I not saying it right?
I had a friend. So there's a difference between Megan and Megan.
Megan.
It's actually like that's a legitimate different pronunciation.
Okay, so from now on we have to refer to her as Megan. Okay,
exactly.
But in the first film you had Alice, in Nightmare on Elm Street you have Nancy, and then later Patricia Arquette's character, whose name is escaping me, Kirsten. Anyway, and then in Halloween, of course, you've got Laurie Strode. And so there are always, in these films, a badass fucking woman coming in, asking for help. The grown-ups are dumb. They don't listen. The fucking dudes in the film are fucking useless. And these women get shit done. And so, yes, there's some weird sex stuff and exploitive boobies and whatnot. But look, I'll say this, like horror today, and I get it. We're like, there's a darkness in our society right now. And the horror films are a lot darker, you know?
Yeah.
There are some campy horror films still. Like, I mean, Stranger Things is like more like kid stuff, but that's kind of more campy. But a lot of horror films are like fucking dark and about real shit. And that's important. But when I'm like getting excited about Halloween and I just want to kick back with like some fucking takeout.
Yeah.
And like a milkshake or whatnot, or whatever it is that I'm enjoying on my couch.
Yeah.
I'm going to put in a cheesy ass 80s slasher movie where the gore looks marginally real and the one-liners are terrible.
Well, maybe we could watch one tonight.
I'd love that. Actually, I was hoping to watch Jennifer's Body with you, which is a really awesome fucking movie. This tea is going to get cold if we don't drink it soon. It's getting cold already. Oh yeah. That really lives up. That lives up to expectations. I'm going to throw a little honey in there though. It got a little cold.
A little bit. I'm going to add a little bit. Just a little bit.
So that's kind of the baseline, is that I am coming in as fully as a fan of this movie. And I dragged Sarah into watching this film with me. I was like, let's do this. And Sarah obliged me. But it sounds like you liked it.
Yeah, it was fun.
So your thoughts generally on this movie? Like your impressions, before we get into the movie itself, what are your impressions?
Well, like you were just saying, it doesn't require a lot of thought.
No.
And it was fun actually to predict what was about to occur next. And there was one time I tried to make a prediction and I was wrong. And I was like, oh, how was I wrong? Like it's so predictable. But I don't know. It was just fun and campy and I don't know.
It was fun and campy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So getting into this film, if we want to scoot back to the mythology for just a sec. So in the fourth movie, Friday the 13th, the final chapter, you have Corey Feldman playing Tommy Jarvis. And Tommy Jarvis is a young boy. So here's the thing. The first like 3 or 4 movies take place like on the same weekend.
What?
Even though they were shot years apart. So Friday the 13th
weekend?
And then the next day is when part 2 takes place, but it's like a cross. Or is it a year later? I think it's like part 1, then a year later, part 2 happens. I'm sorry, listeners. It's been a while since I've thought about any of this. Because I just kind of take them in every year as like, it's like candy corns. I have won them every year at this time of year, right? Let's say, I think maybe part 2 takes place a year later because they're now they're at the camp across the street from Crystal Lake. And then I know the third movie takes place the same weekend as the second movie. So it's like the next day. And then the fourth movie is like a day or 2 later or whatever.
That's crazy. How does it not have the same cast?
No.
Well, then how does that work?
New people in a different part of the woods. They're in a different part of the woods.
Okay.
In the fourth movie, there is a guy who's actually looking for his sister who got killed in the second movie. And he's like camping out in the woods trying to find his sister. And so Tommy Jarvis is like at the end of like he witnesses all this fucking crazy murder shit. And then at the end, he like hacks Jason to death. Right?
Part 4.
In part 4. Corey Feldman was kind of a movie star by the time they got around to part 5. They couldn't get him back.
They couldn't get him back.
Well, they did get him back for like a little tiny, like he was in Goonies and shit and like all that stuff by then. So like
I also haven't seen.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm fucking serious.
Sarah?
I haven't seen so many
what the fuck?
80s. Like I just recently last year saw Can't Get Them Wet, Gremlins. I just saw Gremlins
which
like
Corey
last
Feldman
year.
is also in.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to watch Goonies.
Okay. Maybe
with Charlotte, even though there's like lots of cursing in it. I think it's fine. Charlotte's ready for Goonies.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they got him back for like a tiny little scene. But anyway, part 5 is like kind of like a departure because like it's Tommy Jarvis. Tommy Jarvis is in it, but it's a different actor playing Tommy Jarvis, and he's like at a halfway house with other kids.
Okay.
And murders start happening and everybody thinks it's Tommy, kind of like in this movie.
Yeah.
But it turns out it's like somebody else who got mad. It's like the paramedic that you see in the first few minutes of the movie who got mad because like his son got killed accidentally by someone else. It's a very, very loose connection. And so a lot of people don't even consider that to be Jason because it's not really Jason. And the mask is different. Right? The mask is different than the mask you see in all the other movies. And so 6 was kind of like a return to like the normal, like the studio had requested that Jason come back. And that's how you get this like Frankenstein like resurrection.
Yeah, that was, can we talk about that scene?
Yeah, let's talk about the opening of part 6.
Yeah.
So go for it.
It was a dark and stormy night. It was cheesy acting. They got to a great graveyard that Nicole commented that it looked like she was like, this is not on a soundstage or anything, right?
Oh yeah, they definitely shot that on a soundstage.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
it was a lot of fog.
Yeah, and like there was one shot that was like there's obviously a wind machine going and there's obviously like floodlights on them. Like the lighting in this movie was very.
It was like someone's student film project.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tom McLaughlin, the director, was really into like those old like Hammer horror films, so that's why he wanted to do. It's like these old British horror films that had like Peter Cushing and like it's like Dracula and stuff like that. And anyway, so he wanted to have that kind of look, that old monster movie look.
Okay.
And that's where the whole Frankenstein thing came from. He wrote it as well, the director.
Yeah. He wrote it? Yeah. That was something we commented on like in the very first scene. We were like, the writing is
clunky at best.
Yes.
There's a lot of exposition dumps.
Very much.
So if you've come for nuanced writing,
look elsewhere. Keep going. On to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. How many are there?
Well, let's see. Jason X is 10. Oh wait. Okay, so 7 is the one with the telekinetic person lady. 8 is Jason Takes Manhattan. I think I think 9 maybe is Jason Goes to Hell the Final Friday. 10 is Jason X Jason in Space. And then I guess the 11th one would be Freddy versus Jason. And then there was the reboot, so 12. They haven't made 13 yet.
They need to make 13.
They need to make 13.
And then stop forever.
So let's get back to this opening scene, right?
Yeah.
So you said some of the so there's a lot of acting in this movie. Like people
lot
are
of
working
overacting
very hard. Like
Very
they are
hard.
bringing their A game,
B game, C game.
but they are bringing it.
Yes.
They are bringing it.
It's
hard.
like they're acting as if they're going to die tomorrow.
And this is their last chance.
It's their last chance.
They got to get all the acting for the rest of their careers into this one moment.
Yes.
I would like to point out that his best bud, Tommy Jarvis. So Tommy Jarvis and his best bud from the mental hospital, it seems like they escaped or something. There was an indication that perhaps they were on an extended break from
I was
facility.
so distracted by their faces that were doing too many contortions that I wasn't listening to the words they were saying.
The actor playing his buddy is Ron Palillo, who was a television actor from Welcome Back, Kotter, which is probably a show you've never heard of.
I've heard of it.
It was
I haven't seen it.
John Travolta's first TV role.
Wasn't John Travolta in a
He was in Carrie.
Halloween?
He was in Carrie. The film Carrie. Brian
He was in
Palmer's
Carrie? Okay.
Ron Perlow played Arnold Horshack on Welcome Back, Kotter, which was one of my fucking favorite shows. And Arnold Horshack was one of my favorite fucking characters. So I think what we're seeing here is sitcom TV acting.
Yes.
In a Friday the 13th movie.
Yes, that is correct.
Because he was horseshacking all over the place. He was horseshacking up and down that graveyard.
Yes. And he eventually died.
He died and was placed in Jason's grave.
Yes.
So let's talk about what happens. Tommy Jarvis gets there. It's not enough that he sees the grave. First of all, here's my question to you. Who buried Jason? Like, who held a funeral for Jason and buried him in the ground with a fucking grave? Who paid for that gravestone?
Maybe he did.
Jason? Like, he dug the grave himself?
Not Jason. Tommy. Person who
Tommy
killed him.
knew where the grave was, but he didn't seem to believe there was going to be a grave there.
Maybe he thought Jason might have left. He seemed to think that perhaps he wasn't actually dead and had escaped.
Yeah, he definitely was there to be sure that there. So he gets there. There's a grave there. Not good enough.
Nope.
Digs up the grave.
His friend is like, "Why?"
Yeah, and we're all like, "Why?"
And then he's like, goes to open the coffin. His friend is like, "Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need to?" And he opens it up, and his friend is like,
maggots
"There
in
it
there
is." And
I mean,
like,
it could have been any damn body in that coffin.
Why were
to be
there
honest.
so many shots of that skeleton corpse thing?
They cut back to it often.
It was like, that must have been a fucking expensive prop for them to keep cutting back.
They're like, you know what this needs? More maggots.
Yes.
So opens the coffin. Dead body in there.
Maggots.
Maggots. Dead. Like dead.
No eyes.
Like dead. Super
Very
dead. Dead as fuck.
Actually, like, stuff is gone. Like, there's
Like
stuff
skeletal.
Missing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not a body anymore. It's like skeleton. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not good enough.
No.
Tommy
He
goes.
takes-
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
no,
go ahead.
you go ahead.
He rips off a piece of the fence.
Which is a feat of strength that is impressive, to say the least.
And then he stabs his face.
Was it his face? I thought it was his chest.
I'm sorry, his chest.
Yeah.
Okay. Why I said face is I wish he had stabbed his face because that face was disgusting.
Well, yeah, they cut back to the face a bunch of times.
So he stabbed him in the chest a lot.
Like repeatedly.
Yeah, repeatedly. And to the point of like, okay, he's dead, but he's like way past. Like, I think he should have gone even more because as we can see in the following moments that maybe if he had ripped him apart and thrown like an arm here and a leg there, like perhaps he couldn't have gotten
maybe. Well, I think the intention was to burn him. Like he has the gasoline and he's going to throw it on him. But before that happens, lightning strikes the coffin. Lightning strikes. And we have a reanimation.
Yes.
Which means Jason is now a reanimated corpse.
Yeah.
I guess his body seems to fill back out. We see his
eyes
pop open.
eye full of makeup.
Like he has just gone to get he's just gone to the counter at the the Gwinnett Place Mall, and he's gotten the whole thing with his eyes.
Yep.
And he's ready to do some killing.
Yeah, that's all he wants. He's like a killing machine. He's like a shark.
Yeah.
And I don't think I saw him pause once in the film. I think he
pauses a lot.
Does he?
He pauses to look at things.
That's true.
I think what I will say about Jason in general is that Jason will enjoy a murder. Like he will take a moment to look back and appreciate. Like he's like a mindful monster, He's going to take a break. He's going to take a moment to appreciate the murder that's about to happen.
That's gross.
Would you disagree?
No.
Yeah.
I would not.
I also like that this particular Jason, who I think you have it right. What's the guy's name? Courtney Graham or something that played Jason in this film.
CJ Graham.
What I liked about this Jason is that I feel like he seemed like put out a lot of the time. Like it was like he was annoyed.
Yeah.
Where he was like, ugh, now I got to kill this guy. Like it was just like he was obviously there to do murder.
Yeah.
But there was something in his body language that seemed annoyed about it.
But where does it come from? Like that was something I was curious about the entire time. I'm like, why does he want to kill? Why does he just want to indiscriminately kill? What is the motivation behind it?
Well, in the other movies, it was killing the camp counselors.
Right.
And then it became killing teenagers partying.
Okay.
And now...
anyone?
I guess. I mean, he certainly kills a lot. So there's the paintball group.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, that was a different actor playing Jason. They had hired... They had hired somebody else to play Jason. A stuntman. And the Rushes came back and the first thing they shot was the paintball stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the Rushes came back in the studio, said, we don't like Jason's body.
What?
We don't like his body type.
Was he too big?
They didn't like, apparently he was not built. Like he was not enough of a brick shit house.
Okay.
For the studio. They wanted something a little more sturdy and less soft, if you will.
Okay.
He was still a big guy, but he was kind of like a little doughy.
So did we see that or did they reshoot it?
No, the paintball scene is the old Jason.
Oh,
and they recast him, and all the other scenes are the
that's so weird.
CJ Graham, who was like a military guy, so he was like really built and stuff.
Why would you do that?
Well, because they already shot that stuff, and he's got a mask on.
But if it's,
I feel like this ruined the movie for you.
If it's not a big enough deal to have him in the movie at all, why were Cat? I don't know.
Well, they called up the CJ Graham was in the top running to be Jason, and he didn't get booked. So they called him up right away, and they were like, "Can you be in Covington on Monday?" And they flew him out there right away.
Okay.
So it was. I mean, I think he's a good Jason. So you know, I think they did a good job. And you know, I didn't have a problem with the paintball guy either, but I didn't see the whole movie with him, you know, like, so maybe I would have, I mean, his body movements were different if you look at the two scenes side by side. That's interesting.
I wonder if I would see it if I watched it again, but it didn't strike me when I first saw it.
Well, in any case, Jason gets reanimated. And then there's a lot of exposition. There's so much exposition. Ron Palillo eats it. He gets stuck in the grave.
Yep.
His little boots sticking out.
Yep.
And then the next thing, so now that Tommy Jarvis is royally fucked up, the next thing that he does is he goes to the sheriff, or as I like to call him, wannabe Michael Keaton.
Wannabe Michael Keaton, you're right. I can see his face.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't believe him at all.
No, like he comes in there. I mean, frankly, he does sound a little nutty, and also the whole town kind of knows that Tommy Jarvis is the town, like the fucked up weird kid who was part of that whole murder thing that happened. Yeah. So they're just like, Tommy, shut up, get out of here, basically. Yeah. So then there's the yuppie couple Tony Goldwyn, who this was his first movie, by the way, the actor with that yuppie couple, Tony Goldwyn, and then the other actor who played his wife is actually the director's wife.
Okay.
Nancy McLaughlin.
Okay.
So they show up in their little compact car.
Compact, yes.
And Jason
That's
is
fully lit.
Fully lit on the inside. For what reason, I don't know. Is that a motivated light? No. I mean, they probably had some flashlights on the floorboards.
Yeah.
And just were driving around with it, as you do.
Yeah.
When you're camping at night.
Always.
I guess they were supposed to be running the camp.
Were they?
Well, did you not notice that everybody who got to the camp afterwards
they were
was
like, where are they?
When are they going to get here?
Yeah.
Because they were supposed to get here and set up the camp. But they got murdered along the way.
Once again, you're operating under the assumption that I was listening to the words coming out of their mouth.
Oh, well, there's a lot of plot. So the movie definitely doesn't want you to feel like you're not getting enough plot, because they're going to give you several paragraphs of plot every couple of minutes.
Yes.
Oh, so you were asking off, I don't know if we talked about this on mic, but you were asking about the breaking of the fourth wall.
Yes. What? Because the internet says there are numerous instances of breaking the fourth wall, and I couldn't even think of one.
I don't know about numerous instances, but I do know that the caretaker in the graveyard does it multiple times.
Does he?
Well, he the one thing I can think of is the next day. So Tommy Jarvis goes to the police and he's like, Jason's loose, and they're like, shut the fuck up. And then the daughter, not Michael Keaton's daughter, comes in. And she's like, hey, the counselors that were the senior counselors or whatever, that were supposed to show up, the yuppies that we see driving, and then he's gonna run at him with the car or whatever, and Jason's just and then she wants to give him money, and anyway, so they get murdered. She gets murdered in a puddle. Yeah. And I think Jason's walking around with the piece of the gate. I think that's what he kills them with, the piece of the gate. And so she comes in and she's like, they're not here yet. And she's like, can you check in to what happened to them? And he's basically like, I'm a police officer. I don't have time for this stuff. And it's like, I don't know. That's literally your job.
Yeah.
When someone goes missing is to uncover what happened to them.
Yeah.
So the next day, the caretaker's sees that Jason's grave has been opened, and he's talking, and he's like, oh, damn kids and a parent, and he's bearing Jason back up because he sees Ron Palillo's foot sticking out, and he just dumps a bunch of dirt on it, and he turns to the camera and he says, who would dig up a grave? That's just disgusting. And then he looks at a camera and he says, some people have a warped sense of entertainment. And it's like a winky
I didn't see
moment.
that he was looking at the camera. I just
for sure
missed that. Yeah.
So that's our basic setup, right?
Yeah.
You've got the sheriff. You've got his daughter, who is, Tommy. They kick Tommy out or something, but he ends up back in jail somehow. Do they pick him up? Because they eventually find the murdered yuppies. And then more yuppies get murdered.
Yes.
You know what I think we need to talk about next?
What?
The use of suspenders in this movie.
How have we not talked about this yet?
There's a lot.
Everyone has suspenders.
There's suspenders with vests.
There are suspenders underneath clothing.
Yeah, there's suspenders underneath a crop top.
There's a woman who's wearing a crop top, and we can see suspenders peeking out of the bottom as if she put them on just shirtless, or just
put the suspenders on first, forgot about the shirt, and was like, you know what, I'm just going to throw a sweater on top of this.
Yeah. It was very...
This movie is full of people whose pants cannot be held up on their own.
No.
So they eventually find the yuppie couple, and they throw Tommy in jail because they think that he did it. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to throw him in jail, and that is when his daughter... That's when not Michael Keaton's daughter shows up again, and she sees the man behind bars, and immediately knows, this is the man I've been looking for.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, those eyes. She gives him the eyes.
She wants him bad.
Yeah.
She wants She wants to get inside that sheepskin jacket. You didn't like that.
No.
You did not like that. Well, like I said, I like a sheepskin jacket.
You do. I do. You commented on that a bunch of times.
I don't know why, but I like a sheepskin jacket.
Is it sexy to you, or is it just like cool? You just think it's like cool?
I mean, there's like the comfort, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's also practical.
Okay.
Because it's very warm.
Practical.
Yeah.
Sexy.
On the right man, I think a sheepskin jacket. And again, fake, not real sheep, obviously. Like the fake fur.
Yeah.
I think on the right man, a sheepskin can look rugged.
Is that how you met Chris? Was he in a sheepskin jacket?
No, he would never wear a sheepskin jacket. I had a sheepskin.
I
had a sheepskin jacket though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're attracted to yourself?
Yeah, basically. Like every time I see myself in the mirror walking by in that sheepskin jacket, I'm like, who is that? Okay. I feel like we need to get to some of these murders.
Murder.
So there's the yuppie couple.
Mm-hmm.
The counselors eventually arrive at this camp. They do not like kids.
No. And there are kids in this.
There are kids
Real
in this.
kids.
For the first time ever in a Friday the 13th
Which
movie, besides
Nicole
Tommy Jarvis.
told me that. I was like, but it's a camp.
There's never been kids there before, though. It's always been like the week before the kids come to camp. They're like setting up.
It's literally always been the same week before camp, apparently.
But also, it's like there's never any kids there, which adds this extra like, now Jason's there and there's kids there, and you're like, ugh. So there's the caretaker gets it because
how does he get it again?
So he's like having a drunk. Everybody's out in the woods. Why are people out in the woods at night? Like
I don't know.
I don't get it. I don't. And you and I live in Georgia.
Yeah.
It's not like we're just out in the woods for no reason. Even if you live nearby the woods, I'm not going to think to myself, you know what I'd like to do is me and my yuppie boyfriend. I'd like to get my full-length floral dress on.
Yes.
Go out into the woods with my boyfriend and his suspenders.
Make out
On a blanket. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. I mean, like, why make out at home in a comfy bed when you can make out in a field or like the woods or like on the dirty ground?
Well, that floral dress is something that you can't leave at home. You've got to take that floral dress out.
That's true.
It had one of those big, it was like a dress for like children, but on an adult woman.
Oh, yeah. One of those. I don't remember it at all, actually.
You don't remember the couple? They're like drinking champagne.
I remember the couple, but I don't remember her dress.
Oh, it was like something that you would wear. Like it's something that your mom would make you wear to Easter when you were like 7, but like adult sized.
Okay.
You know how on Easter your mom always makes you wear those florals?
Yeah, no, my mom didn't make me wear things on Easter, but I did.
You didn't wear anything on Easter.
Yeah, I didn't go to church on.
Well, I mean, I didn't go to church Easter, but you got to go on an Easter egg hunt.
Oh, an Easter egg hunt. Yeah, no, I just
that
wore
picture
like
in the front yard. You know.
Oh no pictures.
Okay.
Just eggs.
Just eggs, and my nude body collecting eggs.
Exactly. Oh shit.
Okay, so there's that couple. So while that couple is out there in the woods doing whatever the fuck they're doing, the caretaker is having a nice little walk through the woods home.
Oh right, I remember this.
Why is he walking through the woods at night? We don't know.
He's having a drink.
He's having a drink under the moonlight.
I mean, didn't he just bury that guy?
Yeah, but I'm assuming it took him all day.
Yeah,
because it's nighttime by the time we see him again.
I mean, did you see the grave? Like when the cop went back to check it looked perfectly like.
It's true. He really. I mean, that is a person who really cares about their work.
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, he gets it. Like he like looks at the whiskey bottle.
Yeah, and he like smashes it in his hand. No,
I love that version of the movie, and when you reboot this, I think you should definitely do that. But what he says to the whiskey bottle, "Oh girl, you're gonna kill me," or something like that, and he like tosses it away.
Yeah.
Jason picks up the whiskey bottle and crushes it, and then stabs him in the neck with it.
Yes.
Then he like double impales the yuppie couple.
Yes.
And that's when the bodies start piling up. Well, at this point, right? Not Michael Keaton and the deputy. I don't have a fancy nickname for him. What should we?
Deputy.
He had like he looked like a Trump. He looked like one of the Trump sons almost.
Not Trump son.
Yeah, you're right. Trump son. So
no, not Trump son. There's not
Michael Keaton and the deputy Trump son.
Okay, cool.
Right? So those guys, they're starting to get wind of all these bodies in town.
Yeah.
And they've got Tommy Jarvis in jail. Not Michael Keaton knows that his daughter's got the hots for Tommy Jarvis, right?
Yeah.
So he does the only thing that an intelligent, like responsible sheriff would do.
What does he do?
And he takes Tommy Jarvis out to the edge of town and just lets him go. He just takes that murder suspect. He's like, I don't want you to be my problem, and he just lets him go.
So that makes me think that he doesn't actually believe he's a murderer, or it's just bad writing.
Well, I think this was before the bodies started piling up. Like they take him out and
he
let him go.
They don't know that anyone's being killed.
Yeah. Then when they find the bodies, that's when they put him in jail.
Yes.
For reals.
Yes.
Before that, they just have like him. He's just in the office, and I don't remember why they do have him in jail overnight, and then they let him go. Something happens that I can't remember that I obviously didn't write down. Oh, and then there's the paintball team. We talked about the paintball scene?
I think so, yeah.
But like a paintball. They're like on a corporate retreat.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm doing these in the right order, but
no, it's okay.
They're like on a corporate retreat, and they have like a lady boss.
Yes, and they like make a comment about how they shouldn't have invited her. They shouldn't have let her play. I think.
Because like she's beating all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let her play.
Yeah, it's very like like she should. Don't they even say like she should be at home like baking a pie or some shit, right?
In the kitchen, yeah. And I turned to Nicole and I was like, is this like, was that supposed to be like commenting on the fact that that's no longer an okay thing to say, or were they actually like legitimately saying that?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think at the time we were still in a transition period. I think there's still men that would rather see women at home baking a pie than running a corporate office. They get triple decapitated. Oh yeah, do you remember that? There's like a triple three-way machete to the neck. Mm-hmm. Apparently they did shoot the heads falling on the ground, but it was cut. It's hard to say whether these things were cut because the director didn't like them or because
they were so bad that.
Well, often like films will be censored. Like they'll turn in. This happens a lot with the Friday the 13th movies. They'll like turn in a cut. The MPAA will be like, you have to cut some of the violence down or we're going to give you like an X rating. So I don't know if that was the situation here or not, but that happened with the first Friday the 13th movie. It happened pretty much with all of them. There's all kinds of extended death sequences that probably are relatively tame compared to today and today's violence, but at the time was considered to be too graphic. So I don't know if the heads were part of that, but so at this point, that's when Jason kind of makes his way to camp. Yeah. Well, wait, he gets to the RV first, right?
Yes. And he doesn't unplug. He rips out the cord that is...
Well, he hacks at it, right?
Right.
Doesn't he hack it? So Court and his lady are having some kind of aerobic sex dance.
Sex aerobics.
Yes. And then Jason cuts their power.
Yeah.
And then Court starts, like, they get a little freaked out and they start driving
away. And this is when I was starting to predict what was happening. And I was like, oh, well, because she was like, go out and check. Please, just go out and check. And I'm like, oh, well, he's going to die. And then she's going to die. The end, but...
And what happens instead?
So he goes outside and then she comes outside and then they see the plug and... Then he goes back inside and then she goes back inside and she is attacked from the inside in the bathroom.
But he doesn't hear it.
He doesn't hear it.
Because he's too busy listening to his tunes.
He thinks that she's like masturbating in there. Is that what he thinks?
Oh, maybe he thought she was taking a dump.
Oh, I thought she was masturbating.
I thought he thought she was taking a dump.
Wow.
She's like in that tiny bathroom and we've got that like overhead
and she's
shot.
like screaming.
That was like one of the more like little more like violent. You know what I think that of all the violence in this movie, like it all happens pretty quickly and it's almost like so over the top that.
But this was like kind of obsessed.
Yeah, because he like puts his hand over her mouth and he's like grabbing on, and you're like, oh, this is kind of not fun for a second.
Against the.
Well, that part was kind of weird and funny.
Yeah,
that was campy again, where they like he smashes her head through the metal RV and it makes like the shape of her face. And then what does he do with Cord? He like stabs a knife in his temple. He stabs a knife in his head or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cord's real dumb.
Really dumb.
So dumb.
Woo! Well, this baby jam, let me tell you, for a big truck, it's not bad at all.
That's it! Pull over, I'm driving!
No, wait, I want to rock! Yeah! Woo! Woo! This is great. See, I've never driven a house before. I like this. This is great.
Okay, so that's going to be our stopping point for today's discussion on Friday the 13th, Part 6. Jason lives.
He does.
He does. I mean, that is a guy who is not resting on his laurels.
No.
Like, he got a second chance, a third chance?
Third chance.
A third chance at life.
Yeah.
And he is going to go out there and go after what he wants.
I believe in him.
Fucking decapitate people.
Yes. Yes.
So listeners, come back and join us for our next episode where we will wrap up our discussion on Friday the 13th Part 6. We've got a lot more to cover. We got a lot more weird stuff, weird lines, confusing plots, crazy murders. Come back and join us. Hope you are having an awesome October and enjoying that. If you're in the South where we are, hope you're enjoying some finally fall weather. Some finally fall. And maybe if you're feeling basic,
pumpkin spice
it up. Don't feel bad about pumpkin spice.
Don't.
Okay. Love what you love. Love what you love.
Yeah. No, don't shame someone for liking pumpkin spice.
No, you know what candle scent I love? I don't really love, and there's nothing wrong with pumpkin spice lattes. I just don't, like, I'm not sure if I don't love them, but you know what I do love?
What?
A pumpkin spice scented candle.
The
moment the temperature dropped below 80 degrees, I immediately got out my fucking pumpkin scented candles. And you know what? They smell great.
They do smell great.
I'm going to burn some when we get back to my house.
Okay, cool. This will be the first year I will not get to have pumpkin spice lattes. No.
You might be able to get a sugar-free one.
Those are
bet they
nasty.
can. Have you tried it?
No.
Well, you should try it at least.
Well, the at Starbucks, the pumpkin spice syrup is a different kind than like the vanilla or the hazelnut. It's like a really thick, goopy syrup. So I don't think they have fake that.
Do you think they're ever going to come out with like a pumpkin spice LaCroix? I mean, I feel like that would be a product.
That might be good. That
would be a product that basic bitches everywhere could get behind.
I think that there are probably listeners out there screaming, no, that's disgusting. But worse than coconut. But,
I mean, nothing's worse than coconut.
No.
I mean, it's like drinking suntan
But,
oil.
key lime.
Yeah, key lime works. Key lime works. Yeah.
Yeah. It tastes like key lime pie.
Yeah.
So I'm just, I
give pumpkin spice a chance.
I literally can taste it in my mouth. Like the pumpkin
right
spice
now?
La Croix. Yes.
And it's good.
It is good. I think they should do it. I think we should write them a letter.
We should. On stationery. On old-fashioned stationery.
And be like, pumpkin spice La Croix is the next
big thing.
Yes.
Listeners, thank you for joining us for this episode. We hope you come back and join us. We hope you continue the discussion about this movie on our social media, which, of course, you can follow. We're Critical Crop Top. You can find us on the social media where we have podcasts, we have videos, we have live comedy and whatnot. But there's lots of stuff to enjoy on the web. You can find us at Critical Crop Top on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We also have a Vimeo and YouTube channel if you're interested in checking out some of our sketches and other things. You can also follow this podcast on Facebook, and Instagram at Georgia Made Podcast. And you can find us on Twitter at Georgia Made Pod, where you can tell us your thoughts.
Tweet at us.
Tweet at us. Tell us, why would the sheriff just unleash Tommy into the woods?
Why?
Was the caretaker in on this whole thing the whole time? He seemed like he had a knowing.
Interesting.
Did him and Jason have some kind of arrangement? Was Jason getting out of the grave at night and playing cards with him, perhaps, and then getting back in the daytime?
But why would he kill him?
You know, maybe he mistook him for someone else.
Maybe.
Or maybe the
caretaker
owed him money.
Or maybe it was part of the agreement. I mean, the caretaker didn't seem to enjoy his life that much.
Well, he's a good times, fun party time guy, I feel like. No?
I think he wanted to die.
Wow, this got dark. Listeners, we have enjoyed talking about this with you, and we will continue to do so in the next episode. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go home and crack open
some pumpkin spice liqueur.
I wish. I'm definitely gonna burn those fucking pumpkin candles. Would you like to enjoy the scent of my home smelling like the inside of a freshly baked pumpkin?
I love the way you said that. Would you like to enjoy the inside of my home?